Hello, Dr. Lenz here to talk about how do we actually use something from one of these articles we can find in Jstor. So I'm still working with architecture in Chicano literature. This is the example search result that I've been using from the other videos. So I have a quote highlighted here. This one is, in Chicano literature, houses attained unprecedented prominence in the decade of the 1980s in what is known as the period of post-nationalism. So this quote here is making the argument that the house became a rather influential part of the setting as opposed to landscapes, wide open country, etc., etc. So this definitely holds up in Cisneros' Woman Hollering Creek. So this theory is based on her previous book, The House on Mango Street, and Woman Hollering Creek is sometimes argued as an unofficial sequel. Okay, so with that in mind, I like this quote. I want to be able to use it and maybe make some notes about it with where can I find this type of concept taking shape in the stories from Woman Hollering Creek. Okay, so I like to copy it and go straight to a Word document and paste. Okay, now pasting from a PDF, it's going to keep the format exactly as is from the PDF. So we got to clean it up a little bit. Not a big deal. Here it has post-nationalism hyphenated. So let's get rid of that. And now we're all cleaned up, ready to go. So before I get too far, I like to build the in-text citation right away, just so I have it on hand, I remember it. Last name is Comp 363. So let's take a look at where did I get this information. Okay. Last name here. And here's the quote, and it's from page 363. So we are all set. So now we have our direct quote ready to go. We can plunk it into our essay whenever we are ready. And when I'm doing a research project, I like to just find a quote, keep it nice and simple, and come underneath it and just build some notes. Okay, so I just made a couple of quick notes here about maybe a couple of major details from the story. I see a connection to this story, being pretty, that final story of the collection. So let's get the title format correct. It's a short story with an italicized word. Okay, so here's what I do know. This is a real house. This is a real street. It's a real neighborhood. It's in San Antonio. And this might be an interesting connection to maybe using biographical criticism, something like that. Okay, so I've got a direct quote. It's ready to get dropped into an essay. So now let's think about unfloating this quote. Because as it is right now, this is just for informal notes, but if I ever wanted to use it, I want it ready to go. So so now I have a nice little setup, building a little bit of context according to an article from American Literature. I get into it, and good. Okay, so I need the author's last name here because I do not have it mentioned up in the setup, but I can change that around. So if I have the author set up in, if I have the author mentioned in the setup, I need to get rid of it here. Good to go. Okay, so the final bit of information to think about is Jstor comes complete with a citation builder. Now it's going to get it okay, the citation builder is going to get it pretty close, but we need to be able to double check it. So click on Cite This Item, and different styles are going to come up. I prefer MLA, so let's copy that. Well, let's try this, see what happens if we copy it. Okay. Okay, so what we have here is really pretty close. It's got author, title, name of the source. It's got the database. It's got the permalink, or I think it's also called the DOI. And we have the access date. It's looking really good, except it is in the wrong font. So we can change that. Times New Roman 12. Good. However, it's not in hanging indent. So let's get it double spaced and hanging indent. And there I just I highlighted it and used the keyboard shortcut Control-2 to get it into double space, and then Control-T to get it into hanging indent. So here what we have is a direct quote set up nicely, cited correctly, and a correct works cited entry. So this is now ready to go to get put right into your essay, and hopefully this will help streamline your process with researching.